Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Kudzie Mapiye, and on this channel I do videos about my life living here in Australia, and I also share different life lessons that I've learned along the way. In today's video I'm going to be comparing Zimbabwean versus Australian Christmas traditions. Now it's almost Christmas. They're literally like just a few more sleeps to go to Christmas, which is shocking, but we made it. And I was just thinking, like the other day I started just thinking of all these memories of Christmas that I had growing up in Zimbabwe, and I just started to think of the memories that I have here of Christmas in Australia. And I thought I'll do this video to just compare the different experiences that I've had and the different Christmas traditions that are there for Christmas. So firstly, we'll start with Zimbabwean Christmas traditions of Christmas clothes. Now, if you are a Zimbabwean person, if you have lived in Zimbabwe, you would know about Christmas clothes. Christmas clothes was such a big deal in Zimbabwe. So basically every Christmas, and this is like leading up to Christmas, you would go and get some Christmas clothes. Your parents would buy you Christmas clothes, and those clothes were supposed to take you throughout the whole year. Like they were just like basic nice clothes. That's when you would get your good quality clothes. Like each child would get a few pairs of clothes, and those were the clothes that you would wear specifically on Christmas Day, Boxing Day, and you would then wear them throughout the year. And I remember this one time that I have 5 other siblings. So as you can imagine, Christmas clothes shopping was a big deal and a big activity. And I remember this one time, one of my sisters couldn't find the exact kind of clothes that they wanted to wear, and we were about to go to our rural home for Christmas, and so there wouldn't be a chance to purchase once we're there, and we had to scramble to get her those clothes, to the extent that we had to go into a grocery store. There are some grocery stores which have a little clothing department by the side. Yeah, those ones. We had to grab a few clothes for her there because we had just run out of time. So that is how serious Christmas clothes were. And on Christmas Day, you would wake up early in the morning to get dressed. Everyone was so keen to get dressed, get ready, and put on your Christmas clothes. It was such a big deal. And then everyone would see each other's Christmas clothes, and that was the beginning of the festivities of Christmas Day. It all began with the clothing. And then I compare that tradition here in Australia. There is also a tradition of Christmas clothes, but I find that in Australia it's more Christmas themed clothes, not clothes like we used to get in Zimbabwe, that they're your best quality clothes that you have to wear throughout the year. In Australia there's more Santa themed t-shirts, those Christmas shirts that are just decorated with Christmas, and you accessorize with Christmas hats, Christmas earrings, and all this Christmas themed stuff. And I know my kids in school, in daycare, they really go into that Christmas clothes, Christmas themed spirits with their Christmas carols. So that's the major difference that I see in Australia. Here, when it comes to Christmas clothes, it's not your best quality clothes you wear for the rest of the year. It just needs to have a Christmas theme. It needs to be red, green, white, have all those Christmas colors, even on Christmas Day. And I find that to this day, I struggle to get into Christmas themed clothes because I still associate Christmas with just nice clothes, not Christmas themed clothes. So I still haven't gotten into the habit of wearing Christmas themed clothes, but my kids do wear Christmas themed clothes. They even today, which is not even Christmas time, we're in December approaching Christmas, but today both of them were dressed in Christmas themed clothes. So that is the difference in traditions when it comes to Christmas clothes. Now, the second thing that is a difference in Christmas traditions comparing Zimbabwe to Australia is just the preparations that happen on Christmas Eve. Guys, I have so many fond memories of Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve was such a big day in Zimbabwe. I mean, especially growing up in Zimbabwe, Christmas Eve I remember like in our kitchen having my aunties over, having them baking cupcakes and having them like, and it's all handmade, by the way. Like we were not, and this is like back in the day, we're not having like those cake mixers. So people would literally, they used to call it like creaming, like where they're like creaming, like making like a paste with sugar and butter and making the like cupcake mix. And they would do that by hand with like a wooden stick in a bowl, and they would do that and add different essence and colors. I remember like green colored cupcakes, red colored cupcakes, blue colored cupcakes. They were all different colors, and my favorite activity during that time was licking the bowl for the cupcakes and, you know, the mixes. That was my favorite part. I can distinctly remember the taste of that cupcake mix. And I remember we had this big dish, like it was like a metal one that they would put all these cupcakes in. Like they would bake cupcakes, like take turns, like, you know, putting them in the oven, and when they're done, they'll tip them over into this big, like it looks like a giant bowl, but it was like a actual like dish thing, and they would put them in there, and there would be so many cupcakes, and would start like, you know, and the thing was you had to wait for Christmas Day to eat the cupcakes. So that's why my favorite activity was to lick the bowl with the mix, because I could kind of enjoy the cupcakes that way. And for me, I have a sweet tooth, so anything sweet, anything dessert, anything cake is my thing. So I used to enjoy that part of Christmas. So that was how we used to spend our Christmas Eve. A lot of family over, baking, and my aunts used to love to bake, and they were so good at baking, and would basically be preparing for Christmas Day. And Christmas Eve, I find in Australia, is more about, you know, getting prepared for Christmas Day, yes, but it's more, you know, doing your last minute shopping. And this is specifically from my family and what I've experienced around me with my, you know, friends and even colleagues from work, what people talk about. Like Christmas Eve, you're really getting the presents, making sure that the presents are ready, making sure that, you know, you've done your last minute Christmas wrapping, you wear your Christmas themed pajamas, all those kind of things. So, you know, that's the difference in tradition when it comes to Christmas Eve. Now, leading from that, I'm just going to touch on Christmas presents. Christmas presents, that's another big, and that is my last point to compare the different traditions, Zimbabwe versus Australia. When it comes to Christmas presents, I remember growing up in Zimbabwe, I don't ever remember getting Christmas presents, like wrapped presents under a Christmas tree, because your Christmas clothes were like your Christmas presents, because that's where you'd go and buy, you know, in the nice fancy shops. And so basically you would kind of choose your own Christmas present because they're your Christmas clothes. So I feel like in Zimbabwe, we're not very big on gifting Christmas presents. And that's not because we don't like presents, but it's just our culture. Like it's the way that we've always done things. Christmas is more about families gathering together and having a good time. And most people have big extended families. So it will be really, I don't think it will be very practical to be buying gifts for each other and, you know, exchanging gifts, because the families are just huge. And you know, so it's more about getting together and enjoying time together. And then the kids get Christmas presents in forms of Christmas clothes and all that. And I am talking from my day. So I don't know, like I feel like now Christmas trees are more of a thing. Christmas presents, having presents under the tree and exchanging gifts are being adopted a little bit more now in Zimbabwe. But when I was growing up, that was not the thing. I never remember having, I think towards maybe when I was a little bit older, like way older, in my late teens, maybe would have a little Christmas tree, but it wasn't like a theme as I was growing up. We never used to have a Christmas tree or decorate the house in Christmas decorations. But in Australia, I find that there is a big culture of Christmas gifts and gifting each other presents at Christmas time. So yeah, that's a big difference that I find in terms of, culturally. And it's something that, even with my friends, it's something that I still have to be conscious of. And sometimes I'm not in the habit of doing that, like gifting my friends presents during Christmas time, because again, it's not something that I grew up, it's not something I associate Christmas with. But I do exchange gifts with people inside this house, like my husband and my kids. But it's not really like a big thing with other friends and, other family members like brothers and sisters. It's not something that we do. But yeah, I would love to hear in the comments if you have any special Christmas traditions that you do with your family leading up to Christmas. Anything that is special to you, anything you remember from your childhood, anything you associate Christmas with. And just for a last bonus thing about Christmas in Zimbabwe, if you're not having rice, chicken and coleslaw salad, you are not celebrating Christmas. That is the theme of Christmas, and that was the theme of Christmas always. Like growing up, it had to be rice, chicken, coleslaw salad, and you could have everything else, but those are the staples that you have to have on Christmas Day. Australia is more seafood. You have to have prawns on Christmas Day and ham, but mostly prawns. Like prawns are a big thing. I can't even pronounce like prawns on Christmas Day. We were a landlocked country, so seafood wasn't really our thing. So that's another Christmas tradition that I am slowly beginning to embrace. I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you enjoy the lead up to Christmas as you prepare for the different traditions that you do with your family, or things that you want to introduce, new traditions that you want to, introduce for your family. I hope this lead up to Christmas goes very well for you and your families, and I will see you in my next video.